guys, my name is Sadie with Sadie Handmade, and thank you so much for clicking on this DIY. Today I'm going to be showing you how to use your Cricut to write on your Rettel Roller for you. Now, if you don't have a Rettel Roller or haven't heard of them, you definitely need one. They're so cute. They're a little paper roller that hangs up on your wall, and I'll insert some footage of me putting mine up in my kitchen right here. I think it just adds the perfect touch to your house. Like, my kitchen feels finished. Now in my craft room, I have one right here that I'll show you in just a second, but my craft room, it's like the perfect addition, and there's so many different uses for them. It's so fun. So they come in white metal or black metal for their brackets, and then they come in 4 different sizes. So you have an 8-inch, a 12-inch, an 18-inch, or a 24-inch. So I have the 24-inch in my kitchen. In my craft room I have the 12-inch, and you can use your Cricut to write on either the 8-inch or the 12-inch for you. So it's so fun, and I'm so excited to show you, so let's get into the video. For this DIY today, the supplies you'll need will be a Cricut Explorer Air 1 or newer. That includes the Cricut Explorer Air 1, 2, and the Cricut Maker. Those are the Cricuts that will be able to write for you. You will also need a Rettel Roller. This is the 12-inch in white, but you can use a 12-inch or an 8-inch for this project. You will also need 2 Cricut pens. One is the 0.4 tip, which is the fine point, and a medium point, which is the 1.0 tip for this specific project, but you can use any of their pens to write on the roller. You will also need a 24-inch Cricut mat. This is a standard grip 24-inch mat, but I've used it so much that it's not as sticky as it used to be. I highly recommend a 24-inch light grip mat. That's the blue long mat, because it's less sticky and it will work a lot better with the craft paper that's on your roller. Again, I'm using a standard grip just because it's not as sticky as it used to be, but I recommend the 24-inch light grip Cricut mat, and I will link all of this in the description below. The first step will be to go into Cricut Design Space. You can do this on their app or online. I like to do it on my computer, so that's what we'll be doing today. So it's design.cricut.com. And from here, you'll click on New Project. And now, this is a Cricut Design Space. I'm not going to be going into detail about how to navigate or use this, only for the purposes of this project today. If you would like a tutorial on Cricut basics and how to use Cricut Design Space, let me know in the comments below, and I can definitely do that. So for today's project, we're going to do a Wi-Fi password on your Rettel Roller. So this would be cute to hang up in your house for the Super Bowl that's coming up, or for an event or party where people might want to know your password. So Cricut has some built-in designs that we can use for this. So we'll go to Images, which is on the left toolbar, and click Images. And here I'm just going to search in this search bar right here for Wi-Fi password. Now there's a couple options. This one has a border with a line. This one just says the Wi-Fi password is. I like this one. It just says the Wi-Fi, it has your network and password. So we'll choose that. You'll notice that all of these have a green A in the top left corner. If you are subscribed to Cricut's All Access Pass, then these are free for you. Otherwise, they'll be like $1 or $2 and you can buy them in Cricut Design Space. Personally, I use Cricut Design Space so much, I recommend that you get Cricut Access if you're going to be writing on your Rettel Roller a lot. So I will choose this one. Since I'm subscribed, it will be free, so I'll click Insert Images in the bottom right hand corner, and it will insert this into my Cricut Design Space. So first thing that you ever want to do when you are choosing an image to write on your Rettel Roller is you'll want to change this from a cut file to a draw file. How you do that is you select it, and you'll come up to the top left and you'll see a line type right here. You'll click this drop down and click draw. Now this will make it so the Cricut will draw the image for you instead of cut it. That's very important because you don't want the Cricut to cut your Rettel Roller. So the second thing I like to do is change the width to the width that I like on my roller. I'm using a 12-inch roller, so I like to make the width 10 inches so that there's an inch on each side. And once I do that, I also always check the height right here. This is about 12.5 inches, which is fine. My roller from the bottom of the roll to the rip bar is about 26 inches. So the biggest image you'll be able to draw on the Cricut is an 11.5 inch wide image by a 23.5 inch long image. So just make sure you're within those boundaries. If you're using a 8-inch Rettel Roller, I would suggest doing 6 inches wide for your image. But again, I'm using a 12, so I will make it 10 inches. Now I like to be able to see my entire image, so the bottom left I can zoom out so that I can see it. And you'll notice on the right hand side there's a layers panel, and this has 2 layers. So I always like to see what each layer is. So I always hide one. So this layer looks kind of like a background, and then I'll hide the other. So this layer looks like the inside. So you can choose, if you keep this hidden, this layer we have hidden right now, if you keep this hidden, this is what your Cricut will draw for you on your Rettel Roller. I personally like the outline, and I think what I'm going to do is make this inside part a different thickness than the outside. So how you do that is I select this. I have the outside layer hidden still. I'll select this, and I come up here next to this line type that says draw, there's a box. This is where you'll pick what marker will be writing this image. The inside I think I want to be thicker, so I will choose M for marker. That's the 1-point tip that I said you would need. And then I choose black. Cricut has a huge selection of markers and pens to write with, so if you go to their website or Hobby Lobby or Joann's or Michael's, pretty much any of those big craft stores, you can find all of the markers. So you could do this different colors if you want. I'm going to do the 1-point thickness black marker. Now I'm going to unhide the outline and change the thickness of that. So I have it selected over here in the draw panel, or in the layers panel. So I'll come up here next to the line type draw, I'll click on the box. For this one I want it thinner, so I'm going to choose the fine point, which is the 0.4 tip, and black. So now that I've selected my thicknesses and pen type for this image, I'm going to add my network and my password. If you wanted, you can just draw this on your roller and handwrite in your network and password. I want the Cricut to do this whole project for me, so I'm going to add it in Design Space. So I click the text in the action bar on the left, or the toolbar. I'll click text and type in my text right here. So I'm just going to make up a network, so my network, and I'll just move this up here, and then I'll click text one more time and add a password, my password, and move this to where I would like it. Oops, not that one. Okay, so right now the network and the password that I've inserted are cut files, and how I can tell is on the layers panel next to your image it will say what it is. So this says draw, draw, cut, cut. Now I don't want this to cut those, so I'll select one, come up to the line type, hit the drop down, click draw. This is one way you can do it. Select the other one, come up to the line type and click draw. So you notice that outlines that font that we had selected. Now Cricut does have fonts that have writing styles, and how you can find those, you'll select one of your texts. I'm gonna click font, and you can filter. So there's a search bar right here, there's a little tiny, you probably can't even see it, but there's a little tiny filter right here. So, oops, sorry. So I click on filter, and I'll click on writing. So now this shows us all of the fonts that Cricut has, and there's a lot of them if you scroll through them, that have writing styles. Again, if you have Cricut Access, they're free if you see the little green A next to them. If not, you can buy them or use your system fonts. But Cricut has built-in fonts that have writing styles. So I have one in mind called Plain Jane. So I'm going to select that one. And how you can make sure this is the writing style is in the font bar, there is a style right here. And if you click on that, it'll have all these different styles, and one is writing. So you'll want to make sure the writing style is the one you have selected. So I did that for my network, now I'll do it for password. Go up to the font. Plain Jane is already searched, so I'll select that. And make sure this style says writing. And if this style says writing, then this line type will automatically say draw right here. And now I'm just going to position these where I think I like them. And if I select everything, there's an align tool on the toolbar on the top, so I'll click align and center horizontally. And that will make sure all of this is centered. Now, the last step in this part of Design Space is you'll want to attach your image, your network, and your password. If you don't attach them, it will draw your network and your password somewhere else on your mat. So to attach them, you select all, and you come over to the layers panel, and on the bottom there's something called attach with a little paper clip. So you'll click that. And now you'll notice in the layers bar that all of this is grouped together under something called attach. So now we can go ahead and make it. So we'll click this green make it symbol, and it will take us to our mat. So this warning is just telling us that our image is longer than 12 inches. So that's fine because we're going to be using the 24-inch mat. So we say okay. Now, this is another important part. I'm going to zoom out so we can see the whole thing. Our image actually needs to be flipped upside down because of the way we put the roller into the Cricut, and I'll show you that in a second. But to flip it upside down, you'll want to do it in one swift motion without letting go of your mouse, because if you let go in the middle of your rotation, it will be really hard to get your image straight. So just trust me, don't let go until you've got it all the way around where you want it. So I click this rotate tool. It's probably really hard to see because I'm zoomed out so far, but there's a rotate tool in the top right corner. So I'll click and hold down on that. Do not let go until you're done. And it will change the box around your image to be red. So you'll rotate that 180 degrees until your image is straight and upside down. So how I make sure my image is straight is I'll line up this corner of the red outline with the corner of the matte outline on the computer. And once that's straight, you can release. And now your image is upside down. Another tip I have when you're drawing on your roller is to move your image to the very bottom of the mat. And that is so this will be the end of your paper and your roll will be down here. So I like to move it to the very end so that I have plenty of room to pull my roller through the rip bar. And again, I'll show you that later, but just trust me, you'll want to move it to the very bottom of your mat and upside down. I am going to center the image now on the bottom and center of the mat because my roller will be taking up the entire mat. So I want my image centered on the mat so that my Cricut will draw in the center of my roller paper. So I've centered this on the 1" and 11" line. If you're doing an 8" roller, you'll want to center it between the edge of the mat and the 8" line. All of these lines are labeled on the top here. You probably can't see it because it's so small on the camera, but it's all labeled on the top. So I'm centering it between the entire mat. And now we can click continue, which is in the bottom right, and we will head over to the Cricut. One last thing in design space. First, you'll want to set your material. If you have a Cricut Maker, a list of materials will show up and you can select from there. I have the Cricut Air 1, so I have set my dial to light cardstock. With drawing, it's not a huge deal if you don't have the material exactly right, but light cardstock has worked for me ever since I've had my roller. Now the next important part is the load tools and mat. So this will tell you which pen it wants you to load into your Cricut. So this is saying load black 0.4 tip pen in clamp A. Now I'll show you on the Cricut in just a second, but it wants us to load our fine tip pen first. All of your Cricut pens are labeled, so it's super easy to know which pen you need first, and it will stop periodically through the process to tell you to change pens on your computer, and I will show you that in just a minute. But we'll go ahead and head over to the Cricut to load our tools and our Rettel Roller. On the computer, it told us that it wanted us to load the 0.4 tip pen. So I have this right here. It has a label on the end here. So I'll take off the cap. One tip I have when writing on your Rettel Roller. So your Cricut has two clamps. It has the accessories clamp with an A, and it has a blade clamp with a B. I believe the Maker is the same as the Explorer Airs. It might have different labels, but you have two clamps. So when I'm when I'm drawing on my Rettel Roller, I like to just take out the blade. And this is because if I've accidentally left something as a cut file instead of a draw file, it will still try to cut it, but since it doesn't have a blade, it won't ruin my project that I'm doing, and I can just start over. So I take the blade out, and I'll open the accessories clamp, and I'll take my pen, and it has a little arrow right here, so I'll gently drop it in the clamp, and then push down, not that hard, push down until the arrow has disappeared and it's clicked into place, and then close the clamp. Now I always put my caps on top because I will lose them if I don't. Now we're ready to put our roller paper on our mat, so we will do that now. So I have my Cricut mat, my 24". Again, I recommend the light grip because it's less sticky, but I've used this one so much that it's hardly sticky at all, so it'll be perfect. And then I have my Rettel Roller paper here. My bracket's up on the wall. I just took the paper down. So I like to do this on the ground just so that I have plenty of space. If you have a big desk, you can do it too. But I also like to be able to look over it to make sure it's straight. So it might be easiest to do it on the ground. So what I do is I roll my paper out quite a bit, and I line up this straight edge with the straight edge on my mat. You might have to do this a couple times, and that's okay. I've practiced a lot, so I've kind of gotten the hang of it. Still not really, but this process takes some practice. So on your light grip mat, you will roll this out and just line up the edge. So now that our paper is on our mat, we will take it over to our Cricut and let the Cricut do the work for us. One tip I have when you're putting your roller on your mat and into your Cricut is that you unroll a lot of paper so it has a lot of extra to allow the mat to go back and forth through the Cricut, and this would prevent any tearing or folding of your paper. This will help prevent curling. This is another reason why you want a mat that's not very sticky. And I'm gonna, instead of peeling the paper away from the mat, I peel the mat away from the paper. And these mats, you can bend them a lot. And they might be curled for a second, but they'll go right back to their normal way. So you just very carefully peel the mat back off the paper. And now we're ready to roll the paper up and hang it up on our roller. Alright guys, we've got our Rettel Roller hung up with our Wi-Fi password and it turned out so good. I'm so proud of this. One thing I did forget to mention when I was showing you how to set it up on the computer is I forgot when you add your text, you want to make sure it's set to the pen that you want your Cricut to write it in. I forgot to do that, so it prompted me to put in a new pen when it came to write that part. I just kept in the marker so that it was nice and thick and that you could see it, and it turned out great. That's totally fine to do. But I am so excited about this. This room that we're in, my craft room, doubles as a guest room for us. So when guests come to stay over, I am just going to keep this up so that they can see our Wi-Fi network and password and they don't have to ask. So it's awesome. The possibilities are seriously endless. There's no way that I could draw something this good myself. So I'm so happy that we figured out that the Cricut can write on a roller because I'm so excited. They have floral patterns in Design Space. They have calendars. You can do to-do lists. You can do a picture to represent the month you're in. Seriously, the possibilities are endless and I'm so excited to keep playing with it. I want to see what you guys put on your rollers with your Cricut as well. So when you do your projects, please tag me at Sadie Handmade or send them to me in a message. I really want to see them. Also, if you need a tutorial to show you how to put up your Rettel Roller, Rettel has a really good one on their YouTube channel, and I will link it down below. It made it super easy for me to put this up all by myself, so it is so awesome. Thank you guys so much for watching and following along with this DIY. Please like this video if you liked it and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more DIY videos, and we will catch you next time.